Hey, what's up, everybody? This is a Serious Matters video. I think it's like number 4 or something. I thought the Serious Matters series would die, but then I realized that it's a pretty good way of titling a video in a way where you kind of know what you're getting. So, this Serious Matters is America, or, United States specific. And basically, okay, I was reading the latest Rolling Stone. For some reason, I got like a free subscription to Rolling Stone. I have no idea how. They just started coming to my house with my name on it. And, okay, so in this latest issue of Rolling Stone, hold on, this one right here with, it's like June 15th, so with, who is that, Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're starting to look kind of old, huh? But there's, nothing mentioned on the cover about it, but when you go in, on page 46, there's an article by Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., and it's called, Was the 2004 Election Stolen? And, okay, I understand that this is quote-unquote old news, but at the same time, it's in the latest edition of the Rolling Stones, so I wanted to talk about it, especially because I found this article to be pretty well written. I found it posted online, so what I want you to do is I want you to go and read this article. There's like a link right there somewhere. I don't know what I'm pointing at. Actually, I'm pointing at nothing. But I put a link, and go and read it. I understand it's kind of long, and I haven't even actually taken a chance to explore the website, but it says that there's like the actual references to the sources that he used in writing this article, which they don't give in the magazine. But basically what this article is about is sort of an outrage on why the media hasn't picked up the whole miscount or, whatever. The article seems to focus around Ohio and how the exit polls were so different than the actual outcome, and how they went about trying to explain why the exit polls were so different than the actual count. And so it goes through and it talks about, all the different states, and it gives a lot of facts and figures. But one of the things that it talks about is Warren County, Ohio. It talks a lot about Ohio, but Warren County in specific. I grew up in Warren County, Ohio. I don't know if that's too much information or what, but my father actually still lives in Warren County, and he has been an election official for a very long time. And, okay, basically, I'm really concerned about this article. I am going to forward it to my dad, and I honestly don't talk politics with my dad, because we differ a lot. My dad is 100% Republican, and just our viewpoints on almost everything political are different, and we have a hard time hearing each other when we talk about it. So it's going to be kind of hard to get him to read this article. But anyway, it talks about Warren County election officials inventing, quote, a non-existent terrorist threat to bar the media from monitoring the official vote count, end quote. I would really like to think that my dad didn't have a part in this, throwing the vote. There were a lot of other really messed up things in Ohio, man. Ken Blackwell is just, yeah, he is a mess. He really messed up the election for a lot of people. There were a lot of votes that didn't get counted simply because he changed all these election rules for really no reason other than to promote his own personal views, and that is that President Bush should be reelected. It talks further about how the 2000 election in Florida changed, voting in general for the whole nation, but yet, like, what happened in Ohio was, like, against the law, and it was even worse than what happened in Florida, and even more organized and well thought out. I really would like to think that my dad didn't have something to do with some sort of throwing the vote. I mean, nobody's perfect, okay? It takes us a while to realize that our parents aren't perfect and blah, blah, blah. I realized actually kind of early, but that is so against the law. Somewhere in this article, it continues on another page. And I'd like to find this quote for you. It was talking about dun, 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 dun. Oh, I should have marked it, because I knew I was coming on here talking about it. Okay, it was talking about dun, 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 the newspaper in Cincinnati finding an email that was talking about how the Republican Party was going to make a fake terrorist threat in Warren County so that the votes could be counted. And I don't know if you remember, maybe because it wasn't relevant to you, but when I hear Warren County on the TV on election night, I think of, my family being back there. And it just seemed weird that, that specific county's count was held back for so long until it was discovered what number was needed to make Bush win the state, which would cause him to win the election. And it's a pretty big county. It has a pretty high population. But I really want to find this thing about the newspaper, because they tried to actually get copies of these emails, but they had been destroyed or whatever. I find it fascinating, this entire article, and the viewpoint that he presents. I can't take every word of it for truth, but he's arguing that Kerry should have won this election, and while Ohio is a very Republican state and almost always goes to the Republican Party every single time, he's added up his numbers and found that, Kerry could have possibly won Ohio. And, it was just an outrage. I mean, we honestly need to figure out a way, because states do decide who can vote and who can't. Like, if you're a felon, you're not supposed to be able to vote, but some states let you vote if you're a rehabilitated convict, whereas other ones don't. And, like, all these little loopholes and laws can be created state to state to manipulate. Like, they had redrawn all the... God, this is going to be such a long video. Okay, well, anyway, I don't care. It's a Serious Matters video, and you're probably not watching it if you didn't bother to read the article anyway. So, it just seems too well thought out, this article, to not have some weight. And I'm not saying that we should turn around and go back and count the votes before they're destroyed really soon, because they only have to wait like 2 years, so I guess that would be November 2nd of this year. All the paper votes are going to be destroyed. I'm not saying that that's like exactly the best solution, but we need to look at what went wrong in this election, specifically in the state of Ohio, where they had redrawn all the lines and yet wouldn't take people's votes, wouldn't count people's votes who showed up at the wrong precinct. They redrew the lines right before the election, too, and I think that they did that on purpose to mess up people. Deleting people off of voter lists, they need to be allowed to fill out that ballot anyway. We can sort it out later, but that's the day to vote. They need to fill it out. They have a right to, and people were denied that. People were denied a reasonable wait time. I mean, you shouldn't have to wait 8 hours to vote. If people are discouraged to vote because of waiting times or because of fear that their vote might not even be counted, then people aren't going to vote. Actually, the last quote in this article is about that. And let me find it because it's so perfect. And I'd really like to use the actual quote of the person who said it. Are you ready? It's Thomas Paine. And it says, "Voting is the right upon which all other rights depend." And then Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says, "Unless we ensure that right, everything else we hold dear is in jeopardy." It's true. When I put my vote in my box, I expect for it to be counted. I don't want somebody to just manipulate the results at the end just to make it fit what they want to happen. I don't know. Okay, I've been going on and on and on about this. I want you to read this article and make a video response on what you think. Clearly, I didn't really think this out. I didn't sit here and take notes or anything. I was just talking out my ass. So, you know, maybe you guys can do a better job than me, or at least type in a little comment and tell me that you read the article. And again, I'll put the link like right there? I have no idea what I'm pointing at. Alright, later.